Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Review it, Rob here. I got another movie review for all of you, so appreciate you coming over here to hang out with me. Today, we're talking about the film The Bride, the big horror film that hit theaters this past week. It is directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. Maggie Gyllenhaal, this is not her directorial debut. This is actually her second movie. I thought this was her first movie, but I did some research after seeing this movie. This is her second film that she's directed, written, produced, all that stuff. But the other movie she did, she also had Jessie Buckley working with her in that film. And Jessie Buckley is also in this film. She's the star of this movie. She's our bride in this film. And then we have Christian Bale as the monster in this movie. So, The Bride, real quick before we go into massive details about the movie, first thing for you to know is that this is not a Universal Monsters film. I know we're talking about Frankenstein. We're talking about The Bride. Your mind immediately goes Universal, right? Universal Monsters, Universal Pictures, a huge franchise that's been going on and all that stuff. Theme park lands, all those things that you know and love about the character of Frankenstein and all that stuff. The Bride of Frankenstein, all that. No, that is not this movie necessarily. Not necessarily this movie. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the review of the film itself, spoiler free, of course, as always. But this is not a Universal film. This is a Warner Brothers movie. So while the characters seem familiar to you, they are not connected to that universe. They are not connected to that world. They are not the Blumhouse things that have been coming out the last couple of years. They are its own thing, man. So without further ado, for you YouTube viewers, appreciate you hanging out with me. We're going to throw the poster up for you. Appreciate you audio listeners as well. But, watch the YouTube. You see my beautiful face? And the poster that's up for you right now. So there you go. Jessie Buckley, Christian Bale. Here comes some other beeping bride. I love talking. Good thing I have a show. So let's see. The movie is rated R for strong, bloody, violent content, language, and sexual content slash nudity. Film is in at 2 hours and 6 minutes and is classified as a horror, romance, drama film. So, The Bride is one of those films that, like I mentioned there, even though they are familiar characters and all that stuff, it's not in that same world, but it will feel very familiar for you when you're watching this stuff because it does have some of those same familiar beats that you would think about going into this movie you didn't know. Now, I don't know the synopsis for this film before going into it, but I saw that trailer so many times. That trailer played a lot in theaters. I watch a lot of horror films, especially in theaters, and it seemed like it played before every single one of those movies for sure. It seemed like that trailer was in theaters for a long time. Like that was one of those things that consistently popped up over and over again. I kept seeing it. I was like, okay, that's interesting and all that stuff and all that. At that time, I didn't really pick up on the fact that it wasn't a Universal film until I started paying a little more attention. I'm like, oh, it's Warner Brothers. Okay, so that's different and all that stuff. But it does have those familiar beats. Like the idea of the movie is Christian Bale, who's playing the monster, is you know longing for a mate, right? Which is familiar to the original Bride of Frankenstein story. They're looking to make have a mate for the monster and all that stuff. Now, of course, it goes in different routes and everything like that, but it's still kind of the same beat. Jessie Buckley is essentially playing multiple characters in this movie without spoiling anything, but she has her regular self that we meet early in the film. You've seen it in the trailer, so this is not a spoiler, but there's an accident that happens with her character, and she ends up being the one that the monster finds to bring back to life and all that stuff. Um, through the ways that they do that, right? And from there, she's a different kind of character. She's kind of in a battle um, throughout the storyline here. I'm trying to talk around myself, not spoil anything, but throughout the story of the film, she's kind of battling with this new monster version of herself and the other version of herself kind of going at odds, and she can't remember anything. Like that was one of the taglines in the trailer. Every time you heard it is like, "What's my name? I don't remember," and all that stuff. So she doesn't have the memory of her previous life so much and all that stuff, but she's trying to pick up pieces and so runs into some things throughout the movie that kind of help remind her of things and all that stuff. It's an interesting and cool story. It adds to that mystery aspect, even though it didn't really classify it as a mystery film. I would say it's a bit of a mystery for her character at least, not for us. We know what's going on. But with her and trying to figure out where she was at and what she's going through and all this stuff, but still having this monster side of her that comes out and all that stuff. And even with Christian Bale's monster itself, as this emotional depth to it, to where obviously he's longing for this mate and all that stuff, but he has these issues as well, with still being the monster, and he's, previous stuff. Like, it's so interesting that this is not really connected to the world, but there's like this bits and pieces, or these Easter eggs, or these moments, or things that he says that remind you of previous moments. Like, yeah, I don't know if it's really a spoiler, but you kind of see it in the trailer, I think, where you see them running away. So it gives you the aspect of, what happened before with Frankenstein, and like the mob coming after Frankenstein, all that stuff, because monsters not related. This film's taking place in the 30s, which is also very interesting because the previous films came out in the 30s and all that stuff. So it's like, I think if anything, even though it's not really connected to that universe, you can probably get away with saying it's loosely connected, but not really connected. It's just very familiar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very much related to the book, Mary Shelley's book, right, and all that stuff. So that world and all that. And it's again, I don't want to talk spoilers, so I can't really get into all that. So he's all that, and he wants to have this. He's longing for this mate, but things are happening throughout this film and all that stuff, and he's worried about getting the mate in trouble because of the monster stuff and all that. It's very interesting. That adds into the drama aspect and the romance aspect between those two characters and everything that's going throughout the film, and how it's going to work and all that stuff. It's compelling. Like, it's a compelling storyline that had me interested and captivated the whole 2 hours and 6 minutes that the film played. Like, I didn't really run into any issues story wise with this movie. Like, all of it made sense, all of it worked. Um, Horror movies, so the bloody, violent content worked, right? And all that stuff. And I think it was a very interesting take on again, familiar feeling, a familiar story, a familiar character. Those two characters and all that stuff. Obviously, a lot more time spent with the bride. Like the first film, the bride's in that movie, not a lot. Like, not a lot of time. It was called The Bride of Frankenstein. Not a lot of time spent with the bride there and all this stuff, man. Um, but obviously, the bride is the main character here, and Jesse Buckley does a very good job portraying, the multiple, versions and things that she's doing in this movie. Like, this is my first real introduction to her. Like, I didn't see that other movie we talked about that Maggie Gyllenhaal directed. I haven't seen that one. I haven't really seen anything else she's been in, but I do know that she is nominated for awards, and she did win an award not too long ago, and she's nominated for the Oscars, which are happening later this week, and for Hamnet, which, how I haven't seen that movie yet, I don't know, but I should have seen it by now for sure. But she's nominated for that film, and there's a very good chance she's going to win an Oscar for that. And just basing it off of what I've seen in The Bride and her performance in The Bride, fantastic. Like, she absolutely kills it. She's captivating in every scene that she's in. Like, she's portraying everything she needs to portray, from the crazy monstrous person to the emotional side effects of trying to remember things and trying to find these things, and the drama of it all and those aspects. Christian Bale doing a great job as the monster as well, who again has that monster side, but Frankenstein, is one of those characters that has never been. It's more of getting to know yourself more as the monster and all this stuff. Like, if you go back to that classic film, it's like he's just trying to operate throughout the world and all this stuff and get by. And this is a little bit, Lowe's a little bit more, a little bit smarter. He's a little more connected and all that stuff. But he's still going through some things, and he's going through some issues and emotional stuff as well, and he's longing for his mate and all that, but also having these other, things that are happening with him, to where, certain emotions and all that stuff, trying to get away, without spoiling things. But he does a great job. I mean, we all know Christian Bale's a fantastic actor. I don't think anybody's gonna be surprised that Christian Bale did a great job in this movie and portraying the monster and all that stuff. So he's fantastic. Somebody who I think was very good in this movie, that wasn't expecting. I wouldn't say I wasn't expecting, but wasn't on my radar of being good. I don't even know if I knew that she was in this movie going into it. But Penelope Cruz is fantastic in this movie. I think she is extremely awesome in her character and what she's playing in this movie. Because I guess I can say this basically: the movie, it takes place in the 30s and does have those monstrous aspects to it, but it's very film noir, right? It's very film noir. It's very, classic mob kind of vibe to it and all that stuff at certain points in the movie. Then we're all this stuff because it's the monsters on the loose and all that stuff. And, you now have people trying to find them throughout the film and all that stuff. And at least these things is not really spoiler because you see it in the trailer and all that. So it's that interesting aspect. She's one of the detectives, right? But she's not really a detective because it's the 30s and women weren't in that role. Unfortunately, that's how terrible dumb the world was back then. But she's the smart one, right? And she's smart and she's putting together the pieces of the everything, and she's awesome. Like I loved her character, I loved her performance in the film as well. Um, so yeah, it's very cool. It's like the monsters in a film noir kind of world. Kind of reminds me of Halloween Horror Nights, one of those things I talk about as well. Which, real quick plug, I've moved my Halloween Horror Night stuff to my other channel. The Review It Rob old channel has now been turned to the Wolfman Rob channel. This is now the Review It Rob channel. Um, so please support that as well if you want to. You know, but it reminded me of Halloween Horror Nights and like the legendary Truth of Boris Schuster and stuff like that. So if you don't know Halloween Horror Nights, talking to air right now, but um, it reminded me of that, right? It's the monsters, it's the film, it's the detectives trying to solve the mystery around actions that are happening around all these characters and all that stuff. Very good, man. Like this is a movie I enjoyed, and it's kind of interesting to see the debate online. Not even really debate. There's a lot of people hating on this movie online, which again, social media is just one of those things where it's like you just have to remember it's not really reality, right? A lot of it's bots, or there's a lot of people just looking to cause trouble or just making up stuff to get content or get clicks or whatever. Like the movie is solid. Like the movie is solid. It's good. Again, had me captivated the whole 2 hours and 6 minutes that I was in there. Obviously, some of that was credits and all that stuff, but you know what I mean. And like I liked it, man. Entertaining from start to finish. Very captivating performances across the board, and very interesting. Take on these familiar characters. I mean, I got Frankenstein right there. That's out. That's honestly, you can't really see it, but that's the Bride of Frankenstein poster, which was interesting to me because people are like, "Oh, this movie's woke and all this stuff, and this big on woman empowerment is shoving in our face." No, it's not. Like, no, it's not. Like, not at all. Like, I never once got that feeling watching this movie. And I don't know what it is about like women being put in a role of being like a powerful character that just leads people to believe that, but not the reality for me at all with this movie between the bride or Penelope Cruz's character or anything in this movie. Like this movie felt very fun, like and enjoyable and cool, and didn't feel like I was being force fed anything at all by any means. But interesting aspect, and the reason I bring that up, looking at this poster, the Bride of Frankenstein, which obviously came out a long, long time ago, long before the woke movement and all that stuff that people like to bring up all the time. At the very top, it says more fearful than the monster himself. It says it right there. People weren't calling that movie woke back in the day, like at all, and they love the bride and all this stuff. So it's stupid, stupid internet, social media stuff. But nonetheless, when all the tyrant rant there a little bit, the bride, very enjoyable film. Like I'm glad I saw this in movie theaters. I'm glad I took the time to watch this movie, and I enjoyed it like a lot. So much so, it's in my top three favorite films of the year. I know it's only the beginning of March. We have a lot of movies coming out throughout the year, but there's a chance where this movie still ends up in my top 10 because I was captivated the whole time. I loved what they were doing. I was enjoying it. I had a solid time with it. I think they did put a really good portrayal of what they were putting on there, and great performances, from Jesse Buckley, Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz. Great stuff in this movie, man. So for me, I very much enjoyed The Bride. I don't care what the internet's saying about it, but it's interesting because there's this again, it's social media, so take it how you want. But Scream 7 came out. Scream 7's been met with a lot of back and forth content. A lot of people saying it's the worst film in the Scream franchise. I have not seen it yet. I took the route of not supporting it in theaters. I'll see it when it hits Paramount Plus. But the interesting thing, and feel how you want to feel about Rotten Tomato scores and all that stuff. But the critic score is extremely lower for that movie than it is for this movie. The audience score, there's like a 1 or 2 point difference between the two of them. They're both in the 70s, like 73 to 75, around that area and all that stuff. But you look at social media and it's like, worst movie of all time. Can't believe this is made. This is the laughing stock. Should never been put in theaters, but it has a favorable performance rating here. So it's like, the weird world of how these things work. And I'm just bringing this up as a reminder that just watch the movie. Like, make the decision for yourself. Don't rely on Rotten Tomatoes. Don't rely on people on social media. Don't rely on anything other than your mind. Yes, I'm here reviewing the film, but you should still. That's why I've always made it a rule doing this show never to tell somebody not to see a movie. Even if I've watched a movie like this is absolutely terrible, which I try not to do ever on this show, I still won't tell you not to see it. Like, you've got to gauge and make these decisions for yourself. There's plenty of films that I love that people don't like. And there's plenty of movies you probably love that I don't like. And that's fine. Movies are extremely subjective, and it's all about how much fun you're having with the film. That's it. That's end game. That's end story, right? So, anyways, The Bride, very good movie. Very good movie. Very enjoyable movie. Top three film for me so far this year. Um, I liked Primate more, and I liked Sent Help more than this movie. But this movie is very good, very enjoyable. I had just as good a time with this movie as I did with those other two films. There's just more moments in those movies that you know, um, it's good, like very good movie, man. So do yourself a favor, go see The Bride, go see it in theater, support it on the big screen, all that stuff. It is very worth seeing on the big screen. Is my my humble opinion for all of you, as far as that review goes. But appreciate you as took the time to watch me review this or any other things. Appreciate you taking that time, man. Or if you're listening to the audio version, appreciate you as well. Um, and again, the Halloween Horror Night Show, Wolfman Rob channel. But that's gonna do it for this review, man. So if you saw The Bride, let me know what you thought in the comments. Keep it civil, keep it nice. If you didn't like it, that's fine. Nobody's telling you you're wrong. If you loved it, that's fine as well. Nobody's telling you you're wrong. Subjective. Movies, they're subjective. Nonetheless, thank you. Appreciate you. And like always, like to remind you, you matter. You're capable of incredible things. Trust yourself. Give yourself some peace. Give yourself some love. Give yourself some kindness, man. Keep going forward. Things will work out for you. And again, you matter. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back with more reviews later.